Hey there, this is another episode of Coffee Solo. Welcome all. Recording this at about 6:42 in the morning on Sunday, May 18th, 2025. It's the first episode of the day, almost certainly the last, but I haven't recorded an episode of this in a couple of days. It's my problem, not yours. But I would like to record more frequently or more short episodes, I suppose. Today's episode has minimal. I created a quick outline, a couple of bullet items that I wanted to touch on for this. I titled it Swirling Updates. My plan is to really title it after I create something. I think this is the normal way, the usual way for YouTube streams. There's a working title up front, and then they adjust the thumbnail and the title and whatnot. I think that's pretty normal. Either way, Swirling Updates for this, the 18th of May, 2025. The show notes are posted along with the audio on ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com, but you probably knew that if you're listening to this. Maybe not. This may be floating around somewhere else. My plan is to publish this on ko-fi.com and go from there. Publish it frequently, but not periodically, if that makes sense. Today, we're reaching back to previous episodes for some updates and maybe a few new things for the coming days. One never knows here in Vegas. Don't forget my other coffee-related production, buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, and the Buy Me an Update audio program, about 5 minutes or less, published every Monday, exclusively on buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo/posts. Just like you found this audio program on ko-fi.com/Dan Hugo/posts, very similar. It's like they're cousins. So what's going on? I'm going to assume that you've heard previous episodes for some of these updates. Other things are probably, I've probably have mentioned them in my other audio productions. Either way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, join the club. First of all, there's a food truck website that was expired when last I spoke about it. I was going to attempt to sort of buy it out from under. I mentioned that it looked like it was just dead, but no, the actual owner renewed it the following day in the grace period. So such is life. I don't like the name of that site, but I would have redirected it to mine. When I do launch my own food truck or mobile vending related platform, I will talk about it in more detail. I gotta be honest, I haven't even been to a food truck in months. I used to go to food trucks like many times per week. I don't know where I do know where those calories were going, but either way, I still like the business. I like the whole idea, but I'm just not down with spending that kind of money. I mean, generally, I don't really eat out much. I pretty much go to a grocery store. My least favorite grocery store in the world, a Kroger's property, Smith's Grocery. What is it? Food and Pharmacy? No, I don't want it. It's Smith's something. Smith's Food and Drug. Is that what their website is? Either way, not a fan, but, in this day and age, groceries are easier to, justify spending money for, to live and all that. But restaurants, food trucks, all this is a kind of an excess, a prize. Maybe if I launch my platform, I will go visit some food trucks whom I have not visited, the owners. I have not visited them in a while, probably years at this point. So I'll see who's still in business. I'll probably shoot over to a First Friday and get a big swath and go from there. But I'm kind of bummed that other business is still in business. Based in Henderson, they have they have a national reach. But the thing is, let me take a look at it. I haven't even told you the name, but I really don't want to plug their stuff. That's how vindictive I am. Let's see who's on there. You may know who it is, but maybe not. One of the many problems with this platform is once a food truck owner, and it's mostly food trucks. So it looks like they were going to try to do food tents for a while. These are vendors who appear at like a farmer's market or a festival, carnival, booths, tents. It looked like they were going to try to support those on this platform. So they have two icons. One is for the platform food truck and one is for the platform food tent. So it looked like a little tent. That didn't last long, I guess. So who knows? All right, so let's see. It's 6:30 in the morning here, so it's 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast. Yeah, no food trucks open for breakfast. That's not unexpected. I'm going to guess that. So one of the problems I have is that this person, when he had his outsourced team who's probably never been to a food truck, design this platform, it draws little icons, little map markers, place marks, if you like, if you're into KML and whatnot. It draws place marks that are the icon for the platform, not for the individual vendors, which is kind of slimy in my opinion, but that's the way it is. Roaming Hunger does something very similar, or did. I haven't visited that site in a while, but they leave the marker where the business was last open and they gray it out. So at this moment, there's a whole country of gray food trucks that gives the impression that, oh man, all the food trucks in the country are using this platform. No, all the food trucks on this platform probably in the country that are on this platform probably got signed up without their knowledge. Hey, I added you. I created a free account for you to try. And then they stopped using it. That's the behavior I observed here in Vegas. So kind of slimy, but I guess keeping the doors open for now. So that's check that box for the moment. I don't know if I haven't mentioned it on this program, but I do have 2 startup efforts that I'm working on here in Vegas. One is not particularly Vegas specific. No. It is Vegas specific, but it's built on a platform that is not Vegas specific. And the other one is completely Vegas specific and has no platform that would be like open source for use elsewhere or anything like this. So the second one, my research collaboratory, I've submitted for a little, kind of like an accelerator program. It's called the Launchpad. I think it's the Innovation Launchpad at Zero Labs. Zero Labs does hospitality and gaming startups, I guess, as an accelerator or some other support organization. And they're based in they're based in the tech park. I guess they're based in Blackfire Innovation. I don't know what the relationship is exactly. I stopped keeping track, but anyway, I have a call with them, a Google Meet, Google Meet, video call, 15 minutes this coming Monday. So that's tomorrow, to talk about the thing. I submitted an application. I got an email back many weeks later that, hey, pick a time for a video introduction. I don't know what will come of this. We'll see if things begin to unfold from here and I do participate in the program. It would be July 5, I think. July 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. So we'll see. I'm sure I will mention it once I know something after Monday afternoon. I've mentioned this most definitely on this, I think 2 episodes ago. My upstairs neighbor, he continues to be profoundly noisy at all hours. I always tell, if I'm ever going to make a comment or provide some sort of a complaint, in quotes, to some authority figure like the leasing office or some property management or whatever, I'll basically say, look, I understand people want to play music, which this is not music. It's not a music problem. I say, people want to play music and it's during the day, especially on the weekends. I'm not going to begrudge people. I tend not to make so much noise as I used to in college, but we built those 7-foot tall outdoor speakers. They were pretty loud. So I'm like, I'm not gonna make a big thing of during the day people want to make some noise. My upstairs neighbor makes ridiculous noise at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 7 in the morning, just whenever. And it's completely unpredictable and it's not music. So you can't say, hey, can you turn the music down? It's like construction, pounding on the floor or something. Impacts that shake my apartment. They cause, like glassware to rattle and so on. But it's high impulse, low duration. So you can't really call and say they did something. It's not even a noise. It's like vibration and building shaking. They dropped a block that will probably appear in a pyramid on the floor, I guess, 10 minutes ago. Well, are they still doing it? No. Okay. Well, they can't come and check. They can't knock on the door. So that's been a little bit of a frustrating thing. We'll see how that unfolds in the future. Also, speaking of frustrating, I'm continuing to use Amazon Vine. I've got just over 100 items that have been delivered, which is insanity. I'm starting to break down boxes and whatnot, but it's like, it's ridiculous. I don't know how hoarders do this. I'm not necessarily the best at clearing boxes and tidying up and being organized. I do like to have stuff in a place where I can find it again. So I've heard this referred to as storing things in the world. Like I don't really like drawers and closed cabinets because I can't really see what's in them without opening. So I got to be honest, I'll even leave the cabinets open. So I just have a visual sort of kind of a landscape view of my kitchen, for example. I forget if things are in the dishwasher. So I don't leave the dishwasher open, but I have this little spacer thing. So it's not closed all the way. So I can quickly look in there if I need to. So I'm just not the kind of person who packs things away as a form of storage. I like to have shelves rather than cabinets in general, right? So yeah, and Amazon in their wisdom has shipped most of the 100 items as individually packaged, like in one box. The box will be twice as big as the item, which is ridiculous. And I've had my share of mishaps and missed deliveries, and the company that runs the lockers and the mail room that we have where I live, Luxor One, has become progressively, over the couple of years, has become progressively less helpful and less competent. It's been a couple of weeks. No, it's been, I think it was May 6th. So it's been 12 weeks. So it's almost two weeks, 12 days. As I'm speaking right now, it's been 12 days since a package was marked as delivered, but it was not in the locker. Now, Amazon, I've already taken care of that. They're like, okay, we'll remove it from I didn't pay for it. I'll remove it from your list of items that you have to write reviews for. On to the next thing, right? They're not going to spend any time on it. I don't want to spend any time on it. But Luxor One, as recently as Friday, so 16, I emailed them day of, so 12, well, at the time, 10 days before. And I said, hey, I emailed them again on a thread. I said, hey, was there going to be any response to this? And they said, we can't open the attachment in your email. And I said, well, this was a reply to the delivery notification. So attachments like my V card, so that you have my correct contact information. I sign emails sometimes so that you can say that they're from me. So you could verify it if you know how PKI works. But either way, I said, well, just ignore attachments. I responded to the original delivery notification. So you should be able to figure out which delivery it is because that had the time, right? And the response again was, well, I still can't open the attachment of your email. I said, you know what? Why don't you close this? We'll just mark this down as a profoundly disappointing customer service experience. And I haven't heard from them. Well, it's only been the weekend. But yeah, they don't seem to be, they're not as good as they used to be. And I think this is a problem in general. I actually did an episode of FFS Talk about customer experience. There just seems to be, because of automation, I think, and because of the growing disconnect, you're really not likely to talk to someone on the phone. It's usually email or some sort of messaging or chat window or whatever. So you don't really have any emotional feedback. You can just say stupid things like, I can't open the attachment. Has nothing to do with this email person, whoever you are. And they don't seem to really care that it's like, you're being paid and I'm a support person. I am being paid to do this, but yet I'm not going to help the other person who is almost literally paying for this, right? Paying customer doesn't deserve my time, even though that's my job. So, all right, I'll get off my Karen soapbox, but very, very frustrating. But as I have also mentioned, something like Amazon Vine, where you're going to receive 100 free products, you're going to get some percentage. You're going to hit the rough spots no matter what. If you get 1, 2, 5 things from Amazon a month, you might have a problem here and there. But I've ordered 100 things, and I think I've ordered 105, and I've received almost 100 of them. Like some of them are in transit. So let me check here real quick. Let me tell you. I'll tell you right now. So I have 106 items ordered. Now the order list does not have items removed. So I think four items have not been delivered or have had other problems. So we'll just call it 100, right? 100 items. My first item was ordered on March 24. So 3/24, and it's 5/18. So six and a half weeks, 104 items ordered. I have, by the way, I've reviewed, so the total number of items to review is 56, and that should have the items removed that have had problems. I'll go through and audit that at some point. Total reviewed 45, awaiting review 56, so that's 99 items. Yeah, that sounds about right, right? I said 100. So 99 items, most of them I have. Let me, yeah, so on the first page, no, I'm sorry. On the first page of items awaiting review, 4, 5, 6 out of 10 items I have in my possession. No, sorry, 5, about half. And then so I have 6 pages of items to review. Most of them are in my possession. I just have to review them. These are honest reviews and they are practical. So I use the product and I see what I think of it, and I measure things. If it's a measuring cup, I measure, weigh, I use distilled water and I weigh compared to the markings. And I'm like, well, it was off by 1.5 milliliters or whatever. It's a little extra. I figure, hey, I'm not paying for it. I might as well treat this like a legitimate review. So it's been interesting. I got a grinder, a hand grinder, mini manual coffee grinder with 40 adjustable settings. Ooh, 30 gram capacity, already a little bit on the small side. Conical burr, yeah, but I'm on the fence as to whether it will be 3 or 4 stars. It's okay for a beginner. For $17 discount, $25 list, it's not bad. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not like a blade cutter or a blade grinder, which is really it doesn't really grind so much as cut. But the, ceramic burr white. What is this? There was an option to get a burr, not ceramic burr. It doesn't say what kind. Oh, they had a stainless steel burr for $40. Oh. I don't think we were given the option. So I took the one that they offered. Anyway, so for $17, it's like, not bad. I have a $100 hand grinder that I like quite a bit. You can spend 5 times that. So you're definitely not getting a $500 grinder for $17. So, basically I'll take my $100 grinder. I'll take my Baratza Encore, which is only $150 motor grinder, right? They're all conical burr, and do some grinding and compare the modalities and whatnot. So, I haven't done that yet. But so I take these somewhat seriously. I would like my reviews to count if somebody's flipping through stuff. So that's where that is. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so when I've reviewed 90% of 80 items, so it'll be 90% of 100 items, essentially. So when I've done 90 reviews, and I'm at 45, so I just need to do 45 more, I will be in the gold tier. So I'm at the silver tier right now. I can order 3 items per day, and they're valued at under $100, which is fine. I got to tell you, I've gotten a lot of things where I would not have spent the money, but to actually have them, like, oh, this is actually pretty handy. I got a whole MP3 player, which I have to write a review for. It's pretty cool for what it is. I'm like, you know what? Remember the days when you'd have a separate iPod or MP3 player? And I think it's like $40. I like it. I almost wish there would be a return to, it's nice having a phone that does a lot of different things because you always have it in your pocket. I always have an MP3 player. It's a lot easier to have protected content like audiobooks or videos that you have to actually have an application to play because they're encrypted and whatever, all that silliness. I'm not even going to DRM'd, digital rights management. So not every $40 MP3 player will have the apps for that. I don't even know if I can put apps on this thing. I haven't even checked that out. Maybe it's running Android under the hood or something. So I'll check that out, see what's going on. I've played with it, but I have not composed a review based on specific usage experience. So we'll get there. But I also have a cart that I got for my bathroom. It's like a file cart. It has a little file drawer and whatnot. I'm like, oh, this would be perfect for bathroom stuff. And the surface of the cart, it's like a little table. It's at cart height, so it's probably like 36 inches or 30. No, it's not even 30. It's probably 20, 26. If you got some clippers you want to set down, or you want to have them charging off the countertop, so you don't have to take up countertop space with some items. So I'm like, oh, this would be interesting. A rolling cart, can move it around as needed. I have to assemble it, which is that's like a barrier to entry. So that'll probably be like, yeah, okay, you gotta assemble some things, but that has definitely been a roadblock because you have to set aside the mental acuity. Like, okay, now I got to read IKEA style instructions and figure out which peg goes into something. And so I'm not really looking forward to that. I will do it, but I've had it for a couple weeks. Lazy. So I just did a podcast on Friday, the 16th, the collab on the Cafe Genius Impresarios audio program. What does that mean? So collab, as in collaboratory. The collaboratory is like a shared experiment space. Like we're going to use the space in a shared fashion. We don't actually have to be collaborating with two L's, but we can use the collaboratory with one L as a shared space, shared workspace. And the example I give is a coffee shop, right? You can go to a coffee shop, even though I guess there's been some pushback in recent days and weeks. Like, you just come here with your laptop and you buy one drink and you sit here all day. If you're Starbucks, they're like, it's part of the third place thing, which is now fading from relevance. But if you're just an independent coffee shop, you're like, hey, you're taking up my table space and you're not spending any money. That starts to hurt a little bit. So that is understandable. I think you should probably be willing to buy a coffee for every hour or so that you're there, maybe less. I mean, if it's really hopping there, wherever you are, probably want to have a few drinks going because you're taking up space, right? You're preventing someone else from sitting there and you're using their Wi-Fi. I think it's absolutely fair to kind of rent the spot. And they have the schedule of rental fees right there on the menu. Anyway, so a coffee shop is sort of a collaboratory, right? You can go to a coffee shop, sit at a table, crack open your laptop or bust out your notebook or whatever, put in your earbuds, and you don't have to talk to anybody. Or maybe you're collaborating with two L's with somebody in a video chat or a Zoom chat room or on Slack or something. Who knows? One table over, there might be two or three people having a discussion. They're talking about their startup. They're talking about their homework. They're talking about whatever. So they're collaborating. You're collaborating, but you're not collaborating with each other, but you are in a collaboratory of sorts. So the thing that I brought up in the Friday audio program, Cafe Genius Impresarios, I suggested that there needs to be a collab, as in a discussion about collaboratory resources, how they're used and what people are able to put into use, things that are being built and whatnot. So a collab. Let's discuss how are we using coffee shops and co-work spaces and libraries and so on. Like what's available, what's coming up in the future, what's in the middle, like what's halfway. And then you follow that with a collab, which is let's create a collaboratory environment in the Greater Vegas area, which everybody believes this is a global innovation hub. Okay. I don't know if I believe that. Actually, I do know if I believe that. I've already answered that one many times. So a collaboratory across the entire entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem, wherein we are able to sort of determine, measure, analyze, assess the general availability of collaboratory resources, which is arrived at through a collaboration in this analysis. And there isn't just one single. So the collaboration is between interested parties. Nobody will know everything about everything. And then the collaboratory of the ecosystem is present for these various collaborative groups who are discussing and collaborating on the collaboratory resources. See, it all makes total sense. I don't know if everybody's going to get that, but I certainly do. So that is something, but that's in the context of this. I was suggesting that one of the things that we used to do in the downtown project days, and when I say we, I was 100% spectator. I was not a part of the downtown project other than proximity. And I was often out of town when I was working for Intel, the chip company. Not some people would, this being Vegas with the military connections and whatnot, they'd say, oh, like military intelligence? No. The chip company with a really short future that nobody's aware of yet. Although I guess they're going to be saved because they're Intel. So during that time, we used to have I don't know who came up with the name. I think we were just throwing ideas around. So the Genius Lunch. This was just random people getting together for lunch usually it ended up being Korean barbecue. And that style of lunch, although I guess maybe a dim sum place with the round tables would be also good. But if you can go to a place with round tables, it makes for an easier discussion. So you don't end up with ends of the table. But we used to just gather whoever wanted to show up. Usually it'd be a friend of a friend, right? Oh, hey, we're planning to meet up on Thursday. Oh, can I bring so-and-so? Yeah, sure. Right. So no bar to entry really of any kind. But it should be, or it should have been, people that are just out and about in the ecosystem that was the downtown project, or adjacent to, right? I was adjacent or a spectator. Like just people that are doing stuff, or people that know people who are doing stuff, or people who want to do stuff. Very casual, very conversational, a little bit gossipy. Who's doing what? What's up? What's down? And then we'll see you next time, or maybe not, right? So it wasn't like a recurring group of people. It was more like, if you're around, if you want to come by, it would end up being like 8 or 10 people, which is about the right size. When I was doing the Bootstrappers Breakfast, when I was hosting the Vegas chapter of that, the person that runs that in Silicon Valley, I have some disagreements with, but one of the things that he said, which is a completely and totally 100% correct. If you go to a networking event, or if you have a large gathering, a substantial crowd, you'll probably talk to 10 people, maybe. They may talk to you also. But if you go to an event that has a cap of 10 people, well, I guess you'll definitely talk to nine people, but 10 people will have met and had meaningful conversation, at least somewhat meaningful, and they will at least have been introduced, and they'll know what each other is working on and so on. If you go to an event with like 100, 150 people and you talk to 10 people, who knows, right? It's very transactional. The person that you talk to may or may not talk to you in a meaningful way. And if there's a third person, the two of you may not speak to that third person. So each of you has a different third person, perhaps. And so what you end up with is you may talk to 9 other people plus yourself, but those 9 other people are probably talking to 9 other people, and you're one of them. But if you're sitting at a table with 10 people total, you're going to speak to 9 people and have something of a connection, something of a meaningful conversation, and it might continue after the Genius Lunch. So yeah, I would like to see those relaunch, and not just one Genius Lunch. That's silly. That doesn't scale. There are 2.3 million people, give or take. I think I realized, I think it was in the last month, I think I saw somewhere that I've been saying, oh, it must be near 2.5 million by now, but I don't think it is. I think it's closer to 2.3, under 2.4 million, based on the most recent analysis of people moving in, people moving out, and so on. So yeah, it's something like 2.3, under 2.4 million people in Clark County. You can't have lunch with 10 people at a time, and that's going to scale? No. But to introduce this notion, and to not even have like a meetup.com or an Eventbrite or silliness like this, you should know the people that you're going to invite. It shouldn't be just whoever wants to show up or not show up. So there should be a personal invitation. It should be kind of a friend of a friend, like I said. So I might tell 2 friends, and they might tell 2 friends, and so on. And by the time we get to 3 levels, right? I tell 2, that's 3. They tell 2, that's 7. And then if each of those tells 2, that's too many people. So if you figure you ask 15 people, and if you get a dozen, 10 to 12, that's probably about the upper end. If it's a lunch with 5 people, that might even be better. Who knows? But yeah, I'm thinking about, because nobody else will drive such things. So I'm thinking about bringing that back. So basically, I will reach out to 2 people, and I will say, hey, we're going to have a Genius Lunch. We're going to meet up probably downtown, so it's somewhere centrally located to get started. It doesn't mean you have to meet there every time. It doesn't mean you have to show up every time. And then if you want to invite 2 friends, do that. And then when we all get there, I think there really shouldn't be any rules, but I think if there's going to be a rule, it's that if your friend shows up, but you don't, like if I invite, John Doe, and John Doe invites Jane Smith, and John Doe doesn't show up, but Jane Smith shows up. I don't know Jane Smith. That's not horrible, but I think it kind of reduces the value proposition of the Genius Lunch, which is basically to build up these chains of not referral, that's kind of a harsh word, but like chains of familiarity, because that makes it easier for John Doe to have a Genius Lunch and invite Jane Smith. And then Jane Smith can invite somebody else. So, But I think if you say, oh yeah, I'll come and then I'll invite a friend and then I'm not going to show up, that's too typically Vegas. And that's not how a healthy entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem develops, is by people bailing. They should come. I would like to see people come if they want to be involved, not claim they want to be involved and then not show up. So, and life happens. So that's not like, it's not intended to sound draconian, but I think it's about being proactively interested, but it's not even a community of practice. It's not that, the word rigid is not quite right, but it's not that sort of structured. I don't know, just throwing some ideas around. I guess we have to have the first genius lunch and we'll see how it goes. So I'm planning on probably reach out to 2 people this week after I do my Zero Labs thing on Monday. And of course, part of the value of something like a genius lunch is you're not going to a transactional, free food, right? There is no free lunch. That's an economist expression, right? No such thing as a free lunch. You show up, you don't go somewhere pricey. In fact, I would love to have a gathering at a food truck event, right? So you could have the genius lunch at wherever there's a couple of food trucks at lunchtime. So you show up there. I'm not saying that's exactly, I don't want to say cheap. That sounds, but it's, mobile vendors have bills to pay, right? So it's not going to be McDonald's. It's not going to be dollar lunch items, but it's also not going to be 4-star, $100 per person seating. So go somewhere reasonable. There is no free lunch. You're not going to get a sponsored, free food. I'll show up for that. So you have to actually want to show up, and you have to actually show up, and then you get yourself some snacks. That's why coffee shops are actually pretty good for this. Obviously, you can just get a coffee. So you're talking $5-10, I don't know about a $10 coffee, but if, $5-6, whatever tip, got to have tips in Vegas. And then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if nobody does it, then nobody does it. And that's how these overdone free food events become the anchors. And once you have anchors, you figure, you have to go to that event. You have to go. Aren't you going to the thing? Aren't you going to the event that all the people who want to be in a startup community are going to? This is the startup scene. If you don't go, you're not in the scene. I've gone on at length about that, so I'll stop there. So that's the deal there. In the meantime, I keep kicking myself because really, in order to get some of this stuff going, we have to have a reach into the entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem. My air conditioner just came on. So yeah, we have to develop this reach. I think it's going to be a little bit noisy right now, but I'm going to wrap this up. So normally I turn it off before I start recording. So that's the deal. Hopefully this is not too noisy. And so I got to have this. It's in Las Vegas is the platform name. It's based on Munibits, which is the platform we're developing open source from the Innovate for Vegas Foundation and anyone else who would like to collaborate. So it's kind of a big experiment to see if civic volunteer organizations and other people interested in such things would like to contribute to something that is not WordPress, so to speak. So adopting modernity, but also leveraging existing technologies. So ActivityPub, sure. RSS feeds, yeah. News, mailing lists, okay, yes, of course. Support for news groups, why not, etc. Right? Usenet News and NTP. So that's the deal. So I really got to get that going. Just the calendar features alone. I was thinking about that today. Community calendar, sharing calendars. I'm going to plant this seed and then I'm going to wrap it up. Suppose on meetup.com or something, every person, right now you can be anonymous and all this, just every person has a calendar. So when you RSVP to something, you RSVP with your calendar identity. If you want to attach your name to that, that's fine, but there is no more obscuring your name or don't show my name here or there. Here's my calendar. You can see my calendar. You don't have to see me, but you can see other events. And maybe somebody will say, you're attending this event, but you also want to see that event. So yeah, treating participants in meetings as they're represented by calendars. And you can do that with database queries, of course. You can just say, show me all the events that this person is going to attend. But I think that actually opens it up if it's a properly implemented, CalDave, iCalendar Stream calendar, then your calendar that you choose to have represent you for the purposes of meetups can have other events in it as well. So you're not bound to, say, my meetup.com events that I'm planning to attend and I've RSVP'd to. It could be anything. And that basically opens up the platform to collaborations through calendar standards for the purposes of discovering meetups, gatherings, etc. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I need to start creating these episodes more frequently. Hopefully, again, my air conditioner has not added too much noise. You should hear when I have an inductive load, like a ceiling fan on this. It gets ridiculous. Like I really have to turn it off. So luckily I didn't have that on. That's where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you so much for listening as always, and tune in through the week. I'll try to do like more than one episode in a day at some point. We'll show how the trailing 0102 suffixes work. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.